My name's Daniel O'Shea. I'm born and raised in BC.
I'm also raised in BC, born and raised, and I'm also Daniel. Daniels O'Shea is my name.
Canadian identity. I think there's a lot of weight given to multiculturalism in Canada, but I think that's I don't think that's at the core of what a Canadian is. I think the core of Canadian identity is actually geography, because I think the statistic I heard is that 80% of the country's population live in 4% of the country's landmass, and that's it's sort of hard to wrap your head around how a country can operate given the sort of vast expanse of nothingness with little pockets of Canadian culture. So I think a lot of being Canadian is trying to grapple with, I don't know, being lost in a lot of ways.
I think you make some good points, both in mentioning multiculturalism and the geography of Canada. You're going to be a little upset because I'm going to be mentioning literature a little bit here, but I'm a literature student, and we recently had this discussion in class. Margaret Atwood was trying to define Canadian identity, and so she wrote her first novel, called it Survival. And basically the premise was that she connected whatever notion of Canadian identity we can find to the idea that surviving the harshness of our climate, she's speaking as an Ontario writer.
Yeah.
Dealing with those difficult environmental conditions is what made Canada Canada. My professor had a lot of issues with that, and I kind of do as well. Because one, that's confining yourself to the idea of Canada in a sort of regional sense. We don't have harsh winters in Vancouver, right? And it's also in the sense that she's talking about people who founded Canada, right? Yeah. Settlers, people who came from Britain. But I think more of Canada now, or a lot of it at least, is made up of people who have been immigrants since then. People who haven't had a stake in defining what it means to be Canada in any way, in any official way at least, or any major official way.
Yeah, I mean it's young.
Yeah.
I mean I think that's crucial too. It's such a young country. I have, like, 3 generations removed, was here when McDonald was alive.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It's like the founder of the country is almost like 3 or 4 generations removed from us, and that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
So trying to define who you are and like concretize that it's a little ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're still toddlers, you know.
It's difficult. It's going to be intangible.
You know, what like national tragedies have we had?
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe school shootings.
I think that's why Atwood feels compelled to focus on the idea of founding the country and the difficulties inherent to that. Because it was a success. It was something difficult in that the people came and built something out of nothing. Although, I mean, there were native people here. And they did steal the land from them.
Yeah.
But in terms of what Canada means now, we have to focus on those people because they started it.
You know, it's interesting you bring up the natives, because on my trip, like, you know, I ended up talking about Canada a lot to all of these, like, you know, Germans and Czechs.
I did when I was in Europe too.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing that I've always felt compelled to bring up, especially about BC, is like the original sin of Canada, you know? The fact that we all live with this, like, passed down tragedy, you know, that you have to...
That we stole the land from the natives?
Yeah.
But do you think most people live with it, or do you think that most people repress it?
Well, it's part of the national fabric, you know? Well, not now. Maybe I'm talking regionally here more than anything, but... like,
I think it's part of the national secret.
It's part of the narrative, you know, whether or not we want to expound on that narrative. And that's, like that doesn't actually go away, and that's a deep part of it. It's again like the original sin of being Canadian is not being the first people here. You can talk about like frontierism and like voyageurs and how fucking fantastic they were at conquering everything, but the white man conquered it.